very much. I send a hello from Brazil, and it's a pleasure to be here. I think we are going to have a good conversation. To start this, warm up this conversation, my first question is for Seham. Seham, what are the key trends in terms of technology and convenience you are witness in the automotive sector that are changing the industry, and how those technology are impacting consumer behavior in a region and you see around the world too?
Sam, before you answer, I would just like to request Mr. Heverton to please fix your mic. I think your mic is hitting against your jacket, so we're getting a little disturbance. So could you just raise your mic so that we don't have the disturbance? And I request you to please repeat your question so that Seham can answer.
Seham, what are the key trends in terms of technology and convenience you are witness in the automotive sector that are changing the industry, and how those technology are impacting consumer behavior?
Sure. So good morning, everyone. I'm really happy to be with you today on this interesting session. When we talk about customer experience, and then let's divide your question into two parts: trends, let's say technology trends, and impacted behaviors. So first of all, automotive is just like other industries going through a massive waves of transformation driven by emerging technologies first, but then also impacted by COVID-19. So one by one. Emerging technologies here, we're talking about so many, let's say, initiatives or even technologies that I would like to divide them into two parts just to simplify it. One are some technologies which are shaping the new ecosystem, mobility ecosystem, rather than the very old, let's say, automotive industry. Now we are more talking about mobility ecosystem, which is integrated with other different, let's say, new ecosystems disrupted by also the emerging technologies. So there are these technologies that are shaping or enabling new industrial solutions, for example, the blockchain, data cloud, 3D printing, robotics, all those are enabling or let's say helping to improve the supply chain or even, let's say, enable the new industrial solutions here and shaping the new ecosystem. But then there are other technologies which are, let's say, helping, and by the way, the first one is helping to transform the business itself. Then the other type of technologies are helping to transform the customer experience, because we are talking about enabling new or the next generation of mobility services, because now it's not anymore about owning a car, it's about driving or mobility experience. So there are different, let's say, technologies, for example, the basics ones that we know since few years, the voice recognition with the virtual assistant or the personal assistants that are inside the car, with the help of artificial intelligence, machine learning, which is analyzing the data based on my driving behavior, the surrounded environment. So all these, let's say, technologies are creating what we call the new normal or new premium, or differentiating the experience when you own your fixed or next car. So these are, let's say, the basic trends that we are talking about. Then about the customer behaviors, of course, COVID came and left a huge impact on people and their behavior. And we are seeing here or today, and due to the fear of the virus, there are, or we see new paradigms, for example, the distance experience, contactless revolution, rise of the new or the low touch economy. And with all these, let's say, impacts here, we need to think again or rethink the new customer journeys, where we're talking about both buying a car or even servicing or managing the car. And there are many things here. We talk about door-to-door service, door-to-door even test drive, or even AR, XR, whatever. And I think that's maybe enough as a warm-up for the session.
Yeah, it looks like that's something that I heard from Renault, that some director of Renault said, maybe in the future, you are going to decide if you want to drive the car or the car drive you, something like
exactly.
that, right?
Yeah.
So
to choose between driving to be driven, yeah.
Driven, right. And now for Aswin. Aswin, you are the guy from customer success. Once I talked with Mary Alexander, she was responsible to invent the concept of customer success in the software company a CRM provider in Silicon Valley. Her female intuition brought it for the company to worry of asking the customer if they are not or not, if they are or they are not getting the proper return with the software. In my opinion, I think women have more intuition than men. Is that possible to put this in female intuition in the software as WebEngage that you represent, and or in the data of the company to help decision maker to bring the intuition, digital intuition for the business?
Got it. Thanks for the question, Heverton. I'm glad to be part of this great panel. I'm excited to be speaking over here. Yes, the intuition part is the buzzword, I guess. Like the CEO of 𝐿oCoBuzz was also mentioning about siloed systems and how can we get everything together. How do you replace a manual intuition to a digital intuition? Is to understand what the customer would want, right? You would want to serve the best to the end customer. Right now, there are so many options that everyone can check it out in a click away. For them to scale it up and to provide the best solution, you would have to give them what would be preferred by them. I think that we would call as a digital intuition, or something as my personal favorite, I would say, like personalized communication. Unless and until you would want to reach out to your larger audience at the favorite time, at their favorite point of contact, the conversion would not happen. So the need of the hour is going to be to retain the customers, because one-off buy is not going to be scaling up any organization. To have the repeated customers and increasing the lifetime value of the customer is any company's prerogative. And to do that, you would have to nudge them and remind them about who you are and tell them about the offers or any new release which you would have at the right time, at the right channel as well. And that has proven to be an effective way of communication rather than just spray blasting it and hoping that they will convert. So the bigger answer I would say is there are larger audience pool right now with the increase in mobile usages, as well as there are so many options over there. To have a better conversion, I would say use the right channels and the right approach. Otherwise, your customer would not come back to you. There are so many options out over there.
Thank you. And now, Mithil. For me, the marketing is always the area that is a lot of money. All professional of customer service and customer experience has to get approach work with you. In your opinion and experience, what is the main nightmare of chief marketing officer in the region? Because we have to work together now with customer service, customer experience team, whatever.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me on this panel. Lovely to be here. Thanks for the question, Heverton. Maybe not really nightmares, but yes, marketers have a lot of challenges these days, right? And the role of marketers constantly evolving from sort of being based around principles of marketing and understanding customer behavior. A marketer's role now has changed from responsibility of the entire P&L, internal culture, technology adoption, strategic thinking, so on and so forth, which is making it more and more juggling kind of role for all marketers. There are a lot of challenges that marketers have been facing these days with respect to increasing conversions, constantly managing customer experience, deciding on product features and enhancements. But I think the two key challenges that I have been facing is increasing or delivering more revenue per dollar spent, along with figuring out the right marketing stack for both acquisition and retention. And that's a key problem because customer acquisition costs have been going through the roof these days. The next best deal is always around the corner with just a single click or a tap for the customers. We're always also on a bidding war with all the other companies to get that more share of voice or share of visibility. And that's why we have started focusing a little more on retention than in the last 6-8 months. We've observed that retention also is giving us lower cost of sale, which is about 15% of the acquisition cost, which is a massive shift for us as well. With respect to figuring out the right marketing stack, we've observed the digital transformation is something that all companies have embraced right now, but identifying the right technology is difficult for them, and optimizing that stack of marketing, which will help them reach out to the right customer at the right time, at the right place, in the right spot of the customer journey, is crucial. But I think the good thing is there is some kind of direction. Organizations need to find out the technology that is more suitable and aligned with the kind of resources they have. And that's why I keep saying that organizations need to embrace a crawl, walk, run approach instead of, because there are so many marketing technologies to choose from, right? There are more than a few, and every marketing technology is focusing on acquisition, customer data, CRM, CDP bundle, etc. And that's why I feel what is important is to align with the technology that is also in line with your resources and your technical capabilities, and a technology that can help your customer service team do justice to the customer at all points.
Thank you. Now, one of the goals of this event is to help companies shifting from customer engagement from reactive to proactive. I see it like a marriage. In the most of marriage around the world, there are always one proactive person and another reactive. The active person always sends alerts and or indication how to improve the relationship. However, after many months or years, the active person decides not to inform anymore the reactive person, and then the love starts to finish. Seham, in your opinion, what is your suggestion for company to build a framework for access and activation before they get divorced and drop off from the customer? How to balance this marriage, you know?
That's first of all a very nice way to describe this relationship, and it's very relevant when we talk about automotive, where we are talking about one of the most expensive tickets in your life. You know, buying a car. You don't buy a car every day. So for us, actually, it's so important. Actually, before even getting married, is actually how to build or to maintain that relationship. But before that is to understand what are the current challenges here. That both of them, brand and customers, are having kind of two very, different, different time horizons, like exactly like, men and women. So to simplify it, like normally customers, they want to be or to feel or to have their brand experience or expectation met. They want to feel special. They want to get their needs delivered, their promises delivered. They expect the brands to be empathetic, to address their pain points, exactly like 𝐂𝐮𝐬𝐭𝐨 from Venus. While brands are more logical, analytical, they want proof, they want surveys, they want answers, they want numbers, they want money. They are exactly like brands from Mars. But this is not really the challenge, because the moment that they understand each other, it will be fine, especially now with the data. And especially when you talk about connected cars, the use of data. But what is here the issue is when we have a third party managing this relationship. And here we talk about agencies coming from Earth, looking for money, managing this relationship, and just focusing on generating more, let's say, sales or more. So this is the challenge that we see in most of the cases here. So coming back to the question, how we avoid that? Of course, here, with the right use of data, this will help us to understand the customers better. And also when we talk about from us as a business process, from the business viewpoint, because this is not only the issue, because also we are going more towards VOCA, more digital, where we need to answer in a quick, we need to do more with less investment. So in order to take a quick decisions, we need to have a proper, let's say, strategies or approaching. And one of them is design thinking, where the main point is to focus on the problems of the customers. If we always focus on the problems of the customers, here we will always focus in all our decisions on developing more solutions, but also meeting our business values and generating more business. And here we talk about improving the business of experience. So design thinking approaches, focusing on the customer needs, using all these emerging technologies for both matching the problems, needs, solutions, and business values. So I think if we work on this, we will be able to satisfy both our COOs and customers. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Uh, I'm a consumer who want to have a little effort as possible when dealing with a company. Sometimes I'm a lazy consumer. However, many companies have not yet reduced the effort of the employee to deliver this exceptional customer experience. There are still many companies that use dozens of applications, including Microsoft Excel as a repository of customer data. Aswin, what do you suggest company what do you suggest company to achieve in the coming years to offer a 300-degree view of the customer during the multi-channel experience, but with less effort for customer and employee? Come sometime the employee pay the price to offer the customer experience. How to reduce this effort for employee and for customer?
Got it. I think I would take it up from Mithil's point as well. Mithil did mention about how many touch points are available right now. There are so many options right now. Within COVID times, there is a combination of both an offline world plus an online world. And we see it even going further, merging the lines. Any interaction which you do in an offline world, let's say you buy from a retail store, the communication should be seamless, that you don't get the same product notification next week. You would want to get a different product, you would want to get an accessories to the product, and so on and so forth. Maybe like a Seham, they would have sold a Renault car. They would want to get services offered and not any more offerings on this Renault car itself. So that's where the overall 360 degrees view come into play. So it's important that the offline information gets combined with the online information and all the touch points become seamless. So you would want to touch base with the Saudi customer at a 10 a.m. where we have seen as a proven better conversion time via SMS or a push notification versus another region player, which can be preferred via an email as well. So it depends upon who your target audience is, understanding who the customer is, and then giving them the relevant contextual messages. So again, to quote the Netflix example, unless and until we show the relevant messaging to the end customer, it's going to be very difficult to retain them or to have a better conversion from them. So it's important at this point in time to get all your data information. The keywords mentioned by Mithil includes the CDP or marketing automation. There are so many data right now, but it's important that we bring all the data together and use it relatively and which is relevant for the end customers and send those conversations to the respective people. That would lead to a better conversion at the end of the day for everyone.
Okay, thank you. In my observation, in the last 2 decades, marketing was focused in hunting customers. Now, with this focus on the customer experience, the team of marketing, CRM, and CX must become like farmers of customer. It means take care of the relationship in long term. Okay, Mithil, in your opinion, how company must hire and maintain the new department of customer relationship manager? It will be above, in the same level of marketing, above, together. What do you think will be this department?
It's a very, very valid question, Heverton. We've been observing that over the last few years, companies were only focusing on acquisition. But that sort of worked out well because they had multiple data points and actionable data points. But now the game's shifting towards retention, and even a 5% retention can lead to about 125% growth in the revenue. So at Daniel Boom, what we've done is we've created a team called the Customer Delight Team, which not only focuses on acquisition, but we talk about concept selling and giving the customer that VIP treatment. And we have a velvet rope approach for those customers who buy frequently from us. So we've done a basic RFM analysis, and any customer going above the threshold of 3x3x3 qualifies for a VIP customer, and that's how we've extended the velvet rope towards them. So with this VIP program, what we are doing is apart from other giants in the region who are offering free delivery, we are of course offering free delivery, but beyond that, we are also offering 48-hour delivery, free deliveries for all orders for the entire year, 5% additional off over and above the existing discounts, 24-hour query resolution, no questions asked, return policy, discounted prices for our home services vertical, etc., etc. So what we understand is a customer may have found you over Google, then may have gone through your Instagram profile, then may have gone through a Facebook reviews, some other reviews as well, and finally landed on your product page to buy a product. After that customer's bought the product, you can actually talk about concept selling and increasing the bucket size or the CLTV of the customer. And one good customer can actually bring you 12 similar customers as well. So any customer qualifying above a 3x3x3 will also sort of get a similar looking customers for us. So that is what we've been sort of working on. We've also launched certain referral programs wherein we are offering an incentivized scheme for the referrer as well as the referee for up to 3 purchases that they do. So out here at Danube Home, we've very clearly mandated that any customer coming to our platform has to be given that velvet rope VIP treatment. And we certainly believe that one good customer can bring in about 12, 13 very good customers as well. So yeah, so the team works alongside the marketing team and the product team, and we sort of have sprints every week to understand and analyze what are the features that customers are sort of picking on the most when in the VIP program.
Okay, thank you. As I'm in the last 15 years, I'm using social networking. It means that many of my habits, behavior data, and preference are public on the internet. With those available data of me, company could create intelligent and relevant company to obtain my attention. The problem is that, in my opinion, the problem is that most of the offering I receive are from companies that they are offering product that they want to sell to me, but not what I really need. Seham, any guess or suggestion how company be more effective in actionable insight and campaign, how to balance, obtain all my data of the customer, and how to balance the offer what I need, not what they want to sell for me. You make myself clear?
Yeah. So if I got your question is like how to avoid such situations where we both, let's say, are dancing on different tunes. So of course, having the clear, fresh, and almost real-time data is a key in any type of business because it's all about that moment. If we got that moment of the needs of the customer, and we will be able to, if we have the right data, we will be able always to reach the customer when he needs it. Because I saw many cases where brands are trying to push. But then when the customer he is at that moment is in real need for that product, at that moment the brand is already like out of budget and cannot push anymore, and then they lost the connection. So the point is that really use data when targeting or in all situations, all the customer journeys, whether about pushing communications to sell projects or products or services, or even to keep the loop, or even to keep the loyalty with the customer. Data is a key, and stop like pushing communication or even investing on media where, this is khalas, it's already is out. And when we talk about mobility or in our situations, this is one of the reasons why we are trying to move forward towards connected cars, because with connected cars, we will be able to have the right data, the real data in real time from the customers based on his driving behavior. So we will know exactly when, for example, the brake pads needs to be changed, or even we will know when the service will be due, again, using a real-time mileage information. So, of course, to have more connectivity, better connections, real data or clear and fresh data is a key here to enable all of that without data, because at the end, data is the fuel for all what we talk today and is the important asset for improving the customer experience. Without ensuring that we have real data, but also data governance, that means that, okay, fresh, good data, but also can be accessed by the different stakeholders or even the different departments. And of course, secure data.
Yeah, it's bring the next question, because one of the serious problems nowadays in the world is about fake news. However, there is a silent problem inside company that 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 there are the existence of many fake data or data used without digital wisdom, in my opinion. Uh, Aswin, Aswin, first of all, how to bring the profession of DPO, data protect officer, to work with equality with marketing, customer experience, CRM professional, especially to follow all the rules regarding LGPD and new data protection law. If you can comment about this.
Sure. There are two different problem statements over here. One is the data cleansing or validating of the data which you have, which is actionable data. There is so much of data, there's repeated data, not relevant data, missing information in the data. So that's the first part. The second part is the compliance, which comes in according to each region. So when you speak about BFSI, there is going to be a law which is coming soon in GCC where the data should not leave GCC itself, or a GDPR compliant rule. So all these are data compliance, and the fundamental aspect of it, as Sia mentioned, you would have to have the relevant data to do an actionable insight. Unless and until you have the data cleansing platform, that's where important data officer comes in place. That is a data lake team in pretty much in all enterprise clients right now, who sit on all the data and ensure that the input of data stream is consistent and there isn't any duplication of data or missing data. Normally, which we see across the Middle East and Africa is the numbers are incorrect, the email IDs are bogus. So to have validation and checks when before passing to the systems are something which we are doing with our clients. And that has helped significantly to streamline the data which has been acted upon as well. So unless and until you have the relevant information, let's say in a mobile number, you have the mobile number or other information, you would not be able to act upon it. So that is something which we are seeing across the board. And a data protection officer also acts upon the data storage aspect, and where that's where GDPR compliance, where the data is hosted, even it's going to be on cloud services, also going to be in-house in on-prem services. All these are taken care by the data protection officer, and we see that has been absolutely critical for all the enterprise clients. And going forward, with so much of softwares and malware attacks, it's going to be absolutely critical that every hosted solution or cloud hosted solution has to have an extra layer of middleware where they don't pass the PII information and you pass only unhashed information to us. That's something which we have seen, we are doing it for our BFSI clients. And that has a value because at the end of the day, your third-party servers don't have any critical information which will identify a user, but rather it's going to be having only hashed information, and that gives a layer of support for your customers as well.
Okay, thank you. In Brazil, we have many repositories of consumer complaint around all the country. In 1999, the annual average number of consumer complaints were about 100,000. However, company start selling more in e-commerce now, and now put this number around 200,000 in the last year during COVID-19. Most of Brazilian companies improved their profit in the e-commerce during COVID, but it forced a digital transformation. But they found that the data and online customer experience were not ready to this high demand for all social classes. Mithil, what if you could comment, what are the main problems and possible solution for company and their data in the Middle East during COVID to offer exceptional customer experience in long term? Because now, okay, we had to make the digital transformation. What do you think will be the next step? and the main pain or challenge for now?
Very valid question again. All right. So what we've noticed over the last few months is COVID really gave exceptional growth to e-commerce in this region, and companies were overwhelmed with the kind of customer base that they acquired during COVID. Right. However, a lot of these firms were not ready to service the customers' requirements. While there were massive efforts in acquisition, there were very few efforts put in customer experience and improving the customer journey. And very, very basic examples I will give you. E-commerce in the GCC up until a few months ago did not offer easy returns on the website. So the customer would either have to call the brand or email the brand that they would like to return a particular product, and that then the brand would facilitate so on and so forth. So many brands were going through such changes where the customer experience was not great. Similarly, with respect to easy payment options, the customers would have to call the banks to get the EMIs, etc., resolved, and that is how the purchases were facilitated. In my point of view, there are two questions, or rather two parts to this question. One is with respect to customer experience. Today, if the brands only go through or do a temporal proximal analysis of the data that they have, there will be thousands of data points with respect to where the customer is spending most of the time, what kind of products is the customer looking for, how easy is the navigability of the site, how fast is the site, what kind of scroll depth the customer has to go through to find the right product on the website, etc., etc. With respect to customer experience, that can really give a lot of insights to the brand. Example, for our brand, we observed that there were a lot of requests for callbacks from our customers on email and on our WhatsApp chat, which made us add a request to callback button on the website at the very top, so that the it would become very easy for the customers to sort of call back. And that is a front end. The back end, we made a very, very nice system where there would be easier call routing, and there would be dedicated people to resolve customers' query, and that is where we talk about 24-hour query resolution as well. With respect to data and making the data more actionable, the data privacy laws are becoming more and more comprehensive, and the standards that advertising companies are setting up is making very difficult for brands like us to marry the first party data with the third party data. Right? Google has said that by 2022 they will be phasing out third party cookies on the browsers. Apple has already started stopping cross app activity tracking for brands as well. So it is going to become more and more important for brands to action on the first party data. And that is also where I think CDP sort of comes into the picture, because CRM and a CDP bundle sort of comes into the picture, because it ties the customer data and gives a 360-degree customer view, so that brands can then focus on creating robust data profiles, giving personalized experiences to the customer, unifying data and delivery systems to stay engaged with the customer through the entire marketing life cycle. So I think that sort of makes the crux of this question as to how brands can solve the data issue and the customer issue in one go.
Yeah. Aswin, okay, we will talk about in other panels of this event about less interaction, how to digital interaction, but many of the customers continue relationship with the company because the kindness offer for the people who in the channel. How to digitalize everything, how to offer good digital experience, but how company build and keep the kindness in the channel, digital moments of the offer the customer, what they are relevant of the people in the channel, or bring the kindness of the company in the digital world.
Got it. So I think, as Mithil mentioned, you have to understand the soft signals from the customer. Unless and until you read through it, you will lose the customers. It can be as simple as being available on a chat, being available on a phone call, having a 24/7 network. All these are things which are shown proven in customer experience and customer enhancement. All these come under the customer delight option for us. The engagement strategy can be through a two-way communication or through a one-way communication. But having those channels open up gives you the customer centricity. And unless and until you're going to be empathetic to customers, customers have multiple options to choose from. So this point of digital nature, having maximum touch points and opening it up at the relevant juncture will give you a better conversion. And also in terms of having the relative contextual messaging being sent across as an organization. So if you would want to have let's say a buyback policy, or let's say it's going to be a return policy, it's important that you do have those options enabled, because that is the need of the hour, and you are available for customers to take it forward as well.
Yeah. Mithil, the last question of this panel: what was your worst customer experience as consumer? You don't need to say the name of the company, but remember, it was the problem about the data, process, of technology. If you could remember the bad experience that you had in your life.
It's from the region itself. Of course, I'll not name the brand. It's a very, very prominent brand, a luxury brand, which sort of kept reaching out to me across digital channels on email, Facebook. And I'm sure they must be using some of the marketing automation tools as well to constantly prospect and remarket to their customer base. So they spent a lot of money on acquisition, and when I went on to complete the purchase and I did not like the product, the returns policy was nowhere close to where the brand usually sets the standards. So to return the product, I had to visit one of their stores in a particular mall and give the product back. And the return policy in itself took about, the return process in itself took about 20-25 days for the refund to even reflect in the account. And there was no calling option to the customer service. There was only an email option. So I think that sort of doesn't go well with what the customers expect the brands these days. These are entry-level things that any e-commerce needs to have, right? So the easy delivery, no returns policy, easier returns, quick refunds, etc. These are all expected by the customers. But a very prominent and luxury brand giving this kind of experience was not expected.
Yeah. So I appreciate to talk with you, Seham, Aswin. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon, or there, or here in Brazil. Thank you, everybody.
Sure, Heverton. You were lovely today.
Okay, thank you. Anisha?
Thanks.